and welcome to Maven Sports Show. This is your host here, Haven Harrington, coming to you live from the Tunerville Deli. Almost like pizza pub. It's just,
I know
I know, right?
You know, I've had to retrain myself.
But it's just the Tunerville Deli here at First and Oak in beautiful Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes, indeed.
I'm telling you, you guys want to come down here, hang out with us as we do this live show. We have great food. We have the best wings.
That's right.
In the city of Louisville, the most unique wing sauce.
Stop it. Don't do it.
In the city of Louisville.
Jerky baby.
Jerky. That's right.
Jerky
Half jerk
wings.
chicken, half barbecue mixed together.
That's right. It will blow your mind.
Look at the smile on my face. I just had mine. I just got finished eating.
It smells so good.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. I know, right? Just
it's
lovely.
ridiculous.
Yes,
Just
indeed.
lovely.
Amazing. Yes, indeed.
But yeah, that's right. 1105 South 1st Street is going down here tonight. Tunerville Deli. Come on in. Check out the
Thank
Main
you,
Event
sir.
Sports Show. We got football on one TV. We got basketball on other TVs. We got pool. We got drinks. We got food. This is the best place to be on a Monday night. I'm telling you, come on down. We have so many.
We got a hell of a bartender.
We have a foosball table.
Free foosball and a bartender,
That's what
man.
I'm
That's my
talking
dude. That's a hell of a guy.
Chris is the man.
He is the man.
The man with the plan.
Yes, indeed.
So, fellas, it's been so many things going on. We are literally in the heat of sports season. This is like my favorite time when you have football, you know, in the conglomeration with basketball. You have NBA, you have college. Everything is going hot and heavy. We have a new Heisman Trophy winner.
We do.
We're going to get into that a little later on. Have some very interesting and strong takes on that. But, of course, I'd be remiss if we did not say congratulations to Coach Satterfield, Scott Satterfield of Appalachian State, now the new University of Louisville head coach.
As we
go ahead and
predicted.
get a Louisville segment started.
Yeah. As we predicted that he would be the head coach of the University of Louisville. And I said it as soon as Jeff Brom said no. The very first person I said that should be our next head coach was Scott Satterfield of App State. People thought I was crazy. People thought I was ignorant.
No, I was with you the whole way. That was my first choice, actually.
But here he is. After Let's Smile.
Yeah, I got excited about the Dino Babers. I got excited about Mike Leach. I thought those were two names that folks would look at. But I think that at the end of the day, I think this was the best thing in Vince Tyree's eyes, both from a standpoint of financially. I think he saw the opportunity to save a little money.
Little money?
With Scott Satterfield than he would have if he would have went after a Babers or a Leach. I'm thinking that he probably would have had to pay in that $5 million range, so you save some money there, which means you get to give more money to assistants. And then in terms of the success of a coach, a guy who's used to winning, he's coming from a championship pedigree, won the last 3 Sun Belt championships in a row after transitioning from the FCS level. So I think all in all, I think Vince Tyree saw the value. He saw the opportunity to bring in a young, enthusiastic head coach, somebody who fits, this new direction of the University of Louisville. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, to me, we talk about saving money. It wasn't we saved a little money. We saved a whole lot of money.
Yeah, the
dude's got like $1.2, $1.7 million a year. Plus, you got your media tie-ins with the sports shows and stuff like that. Adds another like $1 million a year. It brings him to a total of $3.2 million a year. Now, he was only making $700,000 App State, so he's getting like a big pay raise.
Yeah,
but as far as Louisville's concerned, I mean, we had, Bobby had like a $4.5 million. So that's a big savings. Plus, he had a defensive coordinator at another $900,000. Round up, might as well say $1 million for him. So, this is a big savings for the University of Louisville. But you're getting, I think, you're getting a top flight coach. I mean, you're getting a coach that, as you said, has won 3 straight Sun Belt championships, playing just one is this third.
Yes.
He's won 3 straight bowl games.
Yes.
He took a team and transitioned them from Division II FCS to Division I FBS and still kept winning 10, 12-game season. He had the 4th-ranked defense in the country coming in. So, he has been a winner and has won at every level. And this young guy is only like 45.
Yes.
So he's a young coach. Now, he doesn't have any quote-unquote Power 5 experience. Yes, all his coaching experience pretty much has been at App State. But, if you go on YouTube and watch App State and see what they've done, you'll see a very well-coached team that's competitive, that runs the ball a lot. I mean, these guys took Penn State to overtime this year.
Yes.
And that is saying a lot. When you're at App State, 3 years into FBS, and you take Penn State to overtime with their awesome recruiting classes, you're doing a lot. And a lot of people say, well, I'm not sure if he can recruit or things of that nature because he had like the third best recruiting class at App State. Yes, he had the third best recruiting class in App State, some years the fourth best. But you know what? He took the third best recruiting class in App State and won the Sun Belt every year.
Yeah,
so he's coached up guys.
And went on the road to Happy Valley and should have beaten Penn State earlier this year, with the third or fourth best recruiting class in the Sun Belt. So, I mean, to me, that speaks to his ability to identify talent. It speaks to me his ability to take that talent and make it better and to go out there and put together a game plan that is successful. So, I mean, in every way, shape, and form, I think that Scott Satterfield, if you weren't going to be able to go out and get a Jeff Brom, made sense for Louisville. And now that we've seen him go ahead and start to put together his staff, the guys that he's going to bring with him, he's bringing both his offensive and defensive coordinators from App State.
He stole the offensive line coach from NC State,
yeah,
which was huge.
Coach
which was huge.
Is arguably the best O-line coach in the ACC, and he was able to get him. He was a former App State coach, so apparently he knows how to find coaches as well as players. So Coach Ledford coming over, he's had, I believe, 5 All-Americans since making the move over there to NC State. So, yeah, I mean, I think that right now Scott Satterfield off to a good start, hitting all the right notes. Now, let me ask you. There have been a lot of decommitments so far, and of course, a lot like when Coach Petrino came in and had to let some guys go. There was a lot of brushback about that. What do you think about the decommitment, some of the kids saying that they got their scholarships pulled? What do you think about that?
This happens. I get tired of this being like a controversy. Oh, my God, he pulled scholarships. How could he not honor those scholarships?
Well, those things lead to bad karma, though, man.
This happens at every school.
It does.
Every time there's a coaching change, somebody loses a scholarship. Somebody gets their scholarship pulled. Kids are asked to leave the program, to transfer, to go someplace else. This happens every time there's a coaching change, because the players you bring in may not match what the new coaching staff wants to do, which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine. What's to be expected? Because, hey, best believe this is a big business, okay?
Yes.
This is business. He's trying to win, and he knows this is system runs on offense. This is system runs on defense. These are the guys I need to be successful. And the guys we brought in wouldn't help, then yes, you have to cut scholarships. Because remember, we had like a wide receiver. We don't need any more wide receivers. Bobby has like 30 wide receivers and defensive backs already on scholarship.
Right.
We don't need that many dudes.
55 safeties.
No.
We don't need that many dudes.
I understand.
We need defensive linemen.
But because a lot of people never really forgave Bobby after he pulled the scholarship from the young man, like a couple of weeks before the season started. And a lot of people said
Matt Colburn,
that everything that has happened since then has been his karma for doing that, because the timing was pretty awful. This was not a parallel to that, but
I think there's always going to be some turnover. I mean, if you have Rich Rodriguez coming over and he runs a spread option, and you're taking over for a program that ran like, I don't know,
a pro style
offense, then why are you just going to take those recruits when they don't fit anything you're trying to do? So from a schematic standpoint, I definitely understand it. From a philosophy standpoint,
I understand it for sure.
My thing is
I definitely understand it.
Like, why have guys come here and they're not going to play?
Well, here's the thing.
I'm going to honor your scholarship.
But here's the thing.
But you're not going to play.
Then start washing your mouth out and biting your tongue when people want to complain and criticize these young men for decommitting. Because you have a lot of people that go off on these young men when they change their minds. Nuh-uh, that's enough of that. Same goes like when we talk about pro sports. People want to burn jerseys and so on and so forth when somebody wants to go to another team.
It's business.
However, let them get traded. I don't see them burning all of the memorabilia for the franchise. See, people got to get a better mind state on how this thing works. Once these players start learning their worth, okay, and they decide what's best for them, then nobody's happy. And nobody, no. What do you mean you don't want to come here? You want to go to a different school. You want to decommit. Everybody's upset then once the players decide what's best for them and what works for them. Then everybody's upset. But when these big universities and these big programs and these big pro sports teams want to just leave them hanging, then when they find out that they've been traded through a text message or seeing it on the news, then it's okay. But the minute that a player decides he wants to walk away and go somewhere else that's more suitable for him, then all hell breaks loose. That's the part of it that I don't like. And nobody wants to talk about that. Yeah, you want to take a scholarship away from somebody who's committed to the university, not the coach. They're committed to the university. And now you want to take their scholarship away. What about all of these players who are actually coming here to get an education, which is more common in football because there's so many of them?
This is that I think they're doing it with enough time. Because, of course, yes, it is a little bit late for the early signing period because the early signing period is next week on the 17th. But it is well within time for the late signing period, which used to be the only signing day, which was the first Wednesday in February.
Right.
So, I mean, these kids have plenty of time to go out there, find spots. I mean, the carousel always runs around. You have coaches that move.
Right.
You have players that commit other places. Then you have big schools trying to scramble to fill spots.
And I'm all good with that. But I'm just saying, be okay with it both ways.
Absolutely.
Be okay with that's all I'm saying.
This is a business. When all comes down to it, you can say this is amateur sports, whatever. This is a multi-billion-dollar business.
Agreed.
That's what it is. This is a multi-billion-dollar business. And if you have to pull some scholarships to make room for guys who fit your system so you can keep your job that you just got, that's what happens. If you're a kid, you knew Louisville was going to get a new coach.
Dude, it's all good.
You knew. It was obvious.
But from the Georgia Tech game. There are even fans that get mad at the players for going pro.
No, let them go pro.
We're not going to sit here and act like that's not true. There are fans that are literally pissed off when some of these players decide to turn pro.
Absolutely.
Like, I want you to come back
or players that don't play in the bowl game because they want to protect.
I want you to come back and play for this damn Mill plan again next year. What do you mean you want to go to the pros? The hell is wrong with you?
We getting free shoes. What else he need?
We need you here.
No, I understand that. No, and I totally agree. And I think that's something that I think the tide is changing with a lot of that. We've heard more and more talk and conversations about the inequality, and these players are starting to look out for their own best interests.
About time, and congratulations. That's all I have to say about it.
Now let me ask
congratulations.
You as far as the job that Coach Satterfield has in front of him, Louisville goes 2-10 this past season. Some people are saying they think this is going to be an extended rebuild. It's going to take a bit of time to bring and get Louisville back on top. I've heard people say that it might be a good season if they go to 4, 5, 6 wins. Do you guys think it's going to be a long rebuild, or do you think that with better coaching, with somebody who's energetic and hungry, do you think that this team can turn it around and be challenging for a bowl game next year? Well, what do you think the rebuild's going to look like?
Honestly, I look at this almost like the Chris Mack situation in basketball.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people say, well, it's going to be a rebuild. It's going to take 3 years for Chris Mack to get Louisville back on top, and it didn't. I think this is going to be similar.
Man.
I think Louisville has enough talent on offense where they can put up some points and be competitive offensively. On defense,
this is football we're talking about, right?
Yes. On defense, I'm not so sure because I'm always a big fan of defensive lines.
Yes.
You build from the inside out in football. Offensive line, defensive line, and you build from there. Because that's where games are won and lost in trenches.
Yes.
And Louisville's defensive line was straight garbage. Now, a lot of those guys quit on Petrino. They didn't play hard.
They were terrible anyway. I'm sorry.
So I don't know what type of talent they really have
and I will say
on the defensive line.
Your questions about the defensive line, I will say that one of the reasons was that, especially on the lines, young linemen usually need a year to redshirt to get stronger, to get more experience before they go out there. Louisville had some very talented young defensive linemen that they brought in as true freshmen last year that got pushed to play early. You had Jarrett Jackson, who was a very, very talented defensive end. You had Alan Love, another very talented defensive tackle, as well as Deshmi Dumerville-Jean. The big defensive tackle in the middle that got pushed into service. And I think all those guys have an abundance of talent, as well as Michael Boykin, the former commit that came back. But I think those guys got pushed in to have to come in and play more than what they needed to early. So that's why I'm not going to dismiss and say Louisville doesn't have any talent there. I just think that the most talented guys were really young. I mean, true freshmen playing on the line, usually that's not going to work out very well. And I think that's one of the reasons that
between lack of coaching and the entire defense is quitting completely last year.
Right.
You really don't know how much talent they have on defense.
But absolutely.
But let's not forget how bad the defensive line was.
Oh, it was
last year. I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about last year.
It was worse last year. I don't know if it was worse last year. It was as bad. It was like god awful both years.
It was bad. So there's a lot more to this defensive line rebuilding than just these gentlemen going through an off season. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit more than that.
It's going to take what Scott Satterfield taught. A culture change. It's going to take a way in which you handle your business.
My man tried to do that. You gave him the turkey of the year. Come on.
Hey, no, you can't.
He tried to change that culture.
Trying to suspend everybody.
He tried to change that culture, man.
Lorenzo Ward is he's still going. He might be my turkey of the year next year too.
Don't do that, man.
That foolishness.
He came in trying to change the culture, man. Give him a break, man.
I'm gonna say this: if they can get any type of stops on defense, I think the return of offensive talent. They'll lose to Notre Dame the first game of the season.
Yeah.
We'll get blasted by Clemson.
Yeah.
Because it's Clemson, and that's what Clemson does.
Florida State, you don't really know what that's going to do.
Florida State, you have no idea what they're going to do. I think Louisville can be competitive. They may be able to actually squeak into a bowl game next year, maybe go 6-6. Only because I think.
Who's going to be the quarterback?
Honestly,
that's the question you need to answer.
Honestly, I think Malik Cunningham's going to be the quarterback.
I just think that you have to almost punt on almost every position on both sides because the coaching staff wasn't doing anything. I mean, at the end of the day, to me, Bobby Petrino seemed like a dude that was just coming in there and just collecting a check. Like
he was.
So I don't know who's good. I don't know who's bad. I don't know
I'm gonna say
if Puma's the guy. I think that Malik Williams,
I don't think it's Puma.
Cunningham
I don't think it's Puma.
The scheme
I think it's going to be Malik Cunningham only because from watching like past App State games, they like to run the ball from the quarterback position a lot.
Yeah.
That's Malik Cunningham.
Yeah, definitely.
That is definitely Malik Cunningham.
Since the Western Kentucky game, that I'm not saying he is an excellent quarterback. He has a lot of improvement to do.
Yes.
But I think he gives them the best chance to win.
And I'm going to tell you
when
guys.
He's on
that's
the
something
field.
Dabo Swinney said about him. He's trying to figure out why.
He gives them the best chance to win.
I have been told that the people that surround Jordan Travis have said that Jordan is willing to listen to the pitch for Scott Satterfield. So he may enter himself back into the fray if he, buys into what Scott Satterfield is saying. Because I think that the issues with Nick Petrino and a lot of things surrounding that kind of forced that young man's hand. So Jordan Travis might not be a done deal that he's gone from Louisville either. Well, so I mean, there's still a lot to be played out with a lot of
this. But that's fine. But again, when Cunningham is on the field, similar to and not to take away from the conversation, but similar to Lamar Jackson when he's on the field for Baltimore, it opens the offense up because the defense can never be settled because they have no idea what you're about to do. Because you have so many options that are effective options.
Yes.
So they had to be prepared for everything. Now, when you got somebody like Puma Pass in there or Foles in the case of Baltimore, they're passing the ball 9 times out of 10.
Flacco.
Oh, Flacco, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about, okay.
You said the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles, I'm sorry. Or Flacco in.
Mm-hmm. Still a bird. It's okay.
you pretty much know what's about to happen.
Yes.
So the defense is more set.
No, I agree with you.
When you have Cunningham in the game, dude, you cannot be that way.
Well, I think that was the things that you liked about Cunningham as well as Jordan Travis. I mean, Travis showed the ability, to utilize his legs. He had an amazing arm and amazing arm talent. I would love to see him get back in the good graces with the new coaching staff because you'd like to have as much talent at the quarterback position as possible.
Right.
And I think that Travis could be an absolute superstar.
Sure.
I believe so.
Coach Satterfield.
And I believe I still think we have good wide receivers. We have talented wide receivers. Rajay Burns, I think, is a pretty good
biggest
safety.
Thing is that they don't have tight ends. They only have, I believe, one scholarship tight end set to return for next year.
That's it.
Well, no, the biggest thing, and I think we all know this, is that defensive line.
But here's the thing.
That has to be fixed.
But we saw this coming. I said from jump, when they got Bobby the first time, Bobby can't recruit. You need to get Bobby recruiters because he can't do it. He's not a recruiter.
Person.
He's a horrible person. He's a horrible people person.
He said a horrible person. That 40 getting slipped. He's a horrible person. I mean, people person.
That too. He's both.
Dude,
it is what it is. His grandkids love him.
Because he had some skins on the back of his motorcycle.
You know what?
Come
Let me tell you
man.
something. I don't even care about the motorcycle incident. He's a football coach, make millions of dollars. He's supposed to have a secretary someplace, whatever. I don't care about that.
Or a volleyball player, whichever one floats your boat. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. I don't care about that. My thing is this: just recruit. And he couldn't recruit. He didn't go to any high schools. None of the high schools ever saw him.
Yeah. No, it was a lot of pressure on Louisville during that time, man. It was hard to recruit, man. Y'all don't understand.
I mean, the guy never talked to like any of the players. He just couldn't recruit. And I said this from jump. When Bobby came back, he's going to have 2 to 3 recruiters on staff to bring him talent because he can't bring his talent. And as we saw, his class were unbalanced. He had to spend an entire class with offensive linemen. Why? Because he whipped with the offensive lineman the year before. He had to spend an entire class on defensive linemen. Why? Because he whipped on defensive linemen before. And he couldn't get talented defensive linemen here, so he had to go get JUCOs to fill in. JUCOs are last minute. He was getting guys we had no idea that they were coming in the system because the guys we recruited were trash. They were trash.
There was just the decision making.
Like Jeremy
from
Smith.
The recruiting to
like Jeremy Smith.
Wait.
You recruit all these running backs.
Calm down, light skin, man.
All these running backs. Then all of a sudden to play Alabama,
dudes,
you gonna get some dude who's at home on the couch. Give Jeremy Smith the call. Hey, we need you.
Yeah,
and he starts.
There was a lot of questionable decisions the whole time that Bobby was there.
No sense.
Scott Satterfield has a lot of things to clean up, but I'm not going to say that there's not talent on both sides of the ball. That with the right people that can come in. I mean, Rush East is a former 4-star cornerback.
Rajay Burns, 4-star.
You had Rajay Burns, 4-star. You have Chandler Jones, 4-star defensive back. You have a lot of talent at a lot of different places on this team. So I'm not going to.
We have a lot of talent in the secondary.
Oh yeah, in the secondary.
We have a lot of 4-star guys on the secondary.
Well. I just think the defensive line was young, more or less. I mean, I just don't. Normally, you're not going to have freshmen D linemen coming in and playing. You're asking to be made to look bad if you're having to play freshman defensive line.
I agree to that.
I was going to say
I agree to that. But when that's all you have, that speaks to your depth.
No, I understand. That's the issue.
Right.
That it should have never gotten that bad because you're bringing in 6 and 7 defensive backs and 3 and 4 wide receivers every year, but you're not recruiting line talent.
And what does that say about the JUCOs that you brought in just for that specific purpose?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean,
it was crazy.
The roster management was bad. Everything about what was going on was bad for the most part.
And now we know why Bobby's never been any place for over 4 years.
I tell you what, the most exciting thing that I've heard, because I'm continuing to get a lot of feedback and thoughts on coaches that might be coming back. I've heard that Court Dennison may be looking to make a return to the East Coast. And if Court made the decision to come back to the University of Louisville, that would be a huge coup.
Look, he's a top 7 or 8 recruiter in the country.
He was named one of the top 5 recruiters in the country.
Yes,
this past season.
If he comes back, now you start bringing like some real talent and with real coaching. All things are possible. Now, the great thing about this Louisville staff is that it's super young.
Yes.
Defense coordinator is 35.
Coach Ledford, the new offensive line coach, they've already talked about an NC State committal.
Stay on the whole Louisville topic. Let's talk a little bit about Louisville IU this past weekend.
It was a good game, man. It was a good game.
They went up to Bloomington, gave it their all. Just came. After leading most of the game, just couldn't seal the deal at the end.
Chris Mack still fam though, man. Chris Mack,
Jessica Evans said somebody give Haven a Snickers.
I don't need a Snickers. I'm
going to seem like you kind of grumpy.
Yeah, he is. I'm telling you.
I'm not angry. You know what?
He's going into his Fred G. Sanford mode.
No, I'm going to say this.
What do you want, you big dummy?
I just know my football, and I saw this coming. I saw this coming from the beginning, and everybody thought I was crazy, but I saw this coming from the beginning. Like I didn't want Bobby here the first time. My first choice for coach instead of Bobby was Jeff Brown, and people thought I was crazy. No, I'm just saying.
You're right. But no. Moving on to the Indiana game. You know what? First of all, I'm gonna put this out here right now before we even get into the breakdown. And I told some people this. At my favorite spot, InsideTheVille.com, the spot where my man Mike Hughes gave me my start. And I'm going to put it out here right now. I'm telling you, I said it about Donovan Mitchell before anybody else said it. Jordan Nwora, this will be his last year at the University of Louisville. That kid's going pro. I'm telling you right now, he's gone. Jordan Nwora was absolutely outstanding. stupendous and spectacular in Bloomington. 24 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, only 1 turnover, 3 steals as well.
Wow.
Just absolutely amazing. He went mano a mano with Romeo Langford, the guy who's supposed to be all everything.
Underrated. Overrated. Way overrated.
Romeo one-on-one.
Okay, now y'all want to talk about who said what?
Say what?
Who was in the summertime when I told y'all on the air, I said, look, I've seen some of this guy's footage, Romeo Langford. And I said, plain and simply, I don't get it. I don't see what the hype is about.
I mean, you know what? For Romeo, the thing about Romeo is he reminds me, believe it or not, of Jordan Nwora from last year. He has a very low-key, kind of smooth game. And the thing with Romeo is he needs to find that energy button. Like, he needs to find something to get him playing with more energy.
I can agree to that.
Because he kind of reminds me of that. He likes to let the game come to him, but he needs to find that sense of urgency.
But some players never find that because they feel.
But I tell you what, even though I don't think he necessarily played a great game on Saturday, scored 21 points.
Yeah, but
that was a quiet 21. No, I would have never known that.
Right. But here's the thing about Romeo. Romeo is a great player inside the 3-point line,
which is a lost art.
Yes, which is a lost art. He tries to shoot threes. I think he spends too much time like shooting threes.
Yes.
When his best game is inside the 3-point line, which is the driving, the facilitating,
right,
shooting, that mid-range jumper and layups, things of that nature. Because his 3-point shot is really off. That may get better as time goes on and as he plays more college ball. But right now, his game is definitely inside that 3-point line.
Yeah.
But it's hard. In this day and age, the way basketball is played now, it's hard for a guard to live inside the 3-point line.
And you know what?
Because a lot of that ball is played outside the 3-point line.
I totally agree with you. I think with he and Juwan Morgan, you have a couple of guys that can come out there and they're going to be consistent in terms of what they're going to give you. I think Romeo, you can look for him to give you, 15, 16, 17 points a game. I think Juwan Morgan will get you the same, maybe a little bit more. But for me with Indiana, Deron Davis, the big guy for Indiana, he came off the bench and supplied big-time minutes for them. I think ultimately he may have been the player of the game because he outplayed Steven Enoch mano a mano. And I think having that guy that you could go to on the post, which has not been something that Indiana's been able to do. Two of the things that Indiana struggled with, post-production besides Juwan Morgan and turning the ball over. And what they got on Saturday was post-production, which they had not gotten all year, and they only turned the ball over 10 times. And for Louisville to go into Bloomington, Indiana playing, in my estimation, probably their best game of the season. For Louisville to basically lose that game by 1 point when you got a goose egg from V.J. King. You got Steven Enoch.
When you say goose egg from V.J. King.
Zeros across the board.
All points.
Zeros.
No
points, no rebounds, no assists, no
nothing.
steals, no blocks. You got Darius Perry going 0 for 7 from the field, 0 points. Steven Enoch, as we talked about, 3 for 3 from the field, scored 8 points, but was really quiet for long stretches in that game.
Right. The people that we expect to produce didn't produce.
And Louisville still had it. They were still right there. And I think that is a testament to the system. And you can tell that this Louisville team is still building. They're not there yet by far, but they're
pretty far along.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, correct me if I'm wrong. This was their last non-conference game.
They have,
or is their upcoming game?
Kentucky.
They have 4 non-conference games.
Well, I'm talking before the conference start.
Yes, they have 4 games left before the non-conference is done.
Before conference play starts.
Yes. So they have 4. They have Northern Kentucky. They have Lipscomb. They have UK. And then they have one other game which escapes me. So they got 4. I believe it's Hartford.
Yeah. So to me, the thing is, how good can this Louisville team be if VJ can figure it out? Because right now, VJ's been here for a while.
Yes.
He didn't figure out underneath Rick. Well, Padgett will just discount that whole season.
I won't do that. He had 20 wins. Why would you do that?
He had 20 wins. So, you know what? We'll say had 20 wins. But he still didn't quite figure out underneath Padgett.
I think that,
and it still hasn't kind of clicked in.
In my opinion, fellas, the 2 guys that year with David Padgett hurt the worst were Ding Adele and VJ King. And I say that because both of those guys needed a strong hand to be able to guide them and actually teach them and get something better out of them. Like, I don't fault David Padgett because he was doing the best he was to keep that.
Well, he's never been a coach before.
Sinking. Yes, but I think that in terms of VJ's development, him losing basically a year of developing bad habits, not getting strong coaching, not getting the type of direction that he needed really set him back. Because, I mean, literally, this is almost like his sophomore year all over again.
Right.
And that's why it's going to take some time. He's dealing with confidence issues. To me, he doesn't seem to be confident in his dribble. He definitely doesn't seem to be confident in his jump shot. He seems to be afraid to turn the ball over. He seems to be afraid to do just about anything. And I think, to me, if I'm Chris Mack, I'm going to find a way to get him involved making easy buckets. What I would like to see is maybe some times where they invert the big guys and let VJ go on the block and take maybe a smaller defender on the block and allow him to get the ball close to where he's not having to drive it into the paint, but he's actually catching the post feed so he can try to go up, use his strength, either get fouled or finish the shot. He just needs to see the ball go through the hoop versus good competition.
Right.
Because right now when the brother has the ball on the perimeter, he looks scared to death. Like, when I see him with the ball, I see a dude with no confidence at all. So I think they have to find a way to get him easy baskets. If they can do that, then hopefully they can start to get VJ back where he needs to be.
I agree. But, because they bulked him up, they got him bigger so he could drive to the basket, so he could absorb the contact and finish. He hasn't done it yet. So maybe, like you said, maybe taking a guard or a smaller forward on the block and see if we can work him down low. Maybe that's the key.
Got to do something to get him some easy buckets.
But something has happened to Stephen Enoch. All the talent and size in the world, he plays like a beast when he plays against lesser competition. He plays against light competition or similar competition.
Yes.
And he kind of disappears.
Well, and it's kind of interesting because in this game today, or on Saturday, Steven had a good line. He had 6 rebounds, 8 points, 3 for 3 from the field. Good numbers, but didn't get the ball a lot. And I think one of the reasons why is we did not see Steven hustling down the court, trying to duck in to the paint, making himself available so they could get the ball to him.
You have to want it.
He seemed, yes.
You have to want it.
I did not see him going out there giving that effort and that motor. Like, I saw Okoye Gal, even though he didn't score anything in the game, Okoye Gal posted up like he wanted the ball. Now, he got the ball there, wasn't able to finish, but at least he went in there and played like he wanted it. Stephen Enoch, against better competition, has not really shown the ability to step up and want the ball. So that's what I'd like to see from him. Of course,
shout out to Montrell Jones checking in.
Montrell Jones checking in. He said right now, in his opinion, Ryan McMahon is the most consistent guy on the offense right now.
McMahon is my dude, I'm telling you.
Hey, Ryan he's fearless. He's fearless.
He really is.
And everybody's tried to transfer him out, trying to talk about people taking his time, trying to talk about he's not good enough to be here. And all I've seen is this dude go in there in the biggest of circumstances and continue.
He's the most confident shooter on the team.
Is, but to me, that's what Steven needs to do. When he plays against to even better competition, you have to have that mindset that I'm going to be better than.
Yes.
You can't hold me. You're not going to hold me.
Yes.
I got you. But instead, he's like, I'm here.
Well, he just needs to bring that same aggressiveness. You have to. He is a big man, and a lot of times this happens with younger guys. They talked about the fact that Steven's not been playing basketball but about 6 years now, so he's still very young in the sport, and for whatever reason, he's still not learning to have that consistent motor. Now, he's done better, and I think that Indiana was a step in the right direction. But we still need to see him turn up. And to me, that's the most exciting thing about Louisville, fellas, is that I think that they can still get a lot better.
Here's the thing. If Stephen Enoch can have the same hustle against Kentucky, Duke, and all those other light schools that he's going to play like he has against Southern University, Louisville's going to be real dangerous.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but you got to understand, for some people, it's about that stage. And
if he can still...
Some
people
get
stage fright.
Yeah, that stage fright, man. When it's time to perform on the big stage, man, some people kind of freeze up. Those are things that can be worked out with the right type of coaching scheme. A coach that can build up a player, and build up their confidence. I don't know who comes to mind. Phil Jackson, he was quite... spectacular at doing that.
Book. He needs to
read a book.
Like Stephen, read this book about
teach us some yoga, and some meditation. Hey,
it's like I want you to be from 300.
Teach him how to float.
This is Sparta.
That is.
Yeah,
man. It's I think Louisville is looking pretty good. I'm impressed with how Chris Mack has them coming out the gate. Even though everybody knows he wasn't my first choice, but I'm definitely on board with him now. He's doing an excellent job. Because people gave him, he had a pass. They were going to let him come out the gate looking sloppy. Oh, he needs time. He was like, nah. We're not doing that. We're coming out the gate on
culture change.
Right.
We just talked about it.
Right.
There's a culture that Coach Mack brings with him from Xavier.
That's true.
And he's not going to accept less than what he's used to.
Yeah, because he had a lot of leeway. Everybody, everything that the school has been through, all the scandal. I mean, this man could have had a terrible season, and people he would have had time. But he was like, nah, you know what? We're here. Let's play ball. We're going on the court. We're here to play, and it's showing. And I tell you what, Cats fans, if y'all are comfortable about this game coming up at the end of the month, I am going to encourage you not to be, because the way UK is looking and the way Louisville is looking, Louisville should be expected to win this game.
What a game in Madison Square Garden, man. Seton Hall.
Man.
The Hall.
Man, first of all, Kentucky got lucky.
Man, yeah. Oh, gosh.
Overtime.
Oh, gosh.
That half-court 3-second prayer.
That was that free Christmas ham shot. that half-court. You get a free ham.
Kentucky got
that was some of the lucky. Oh my gosh, he hit a half court bank.
I'm gonna say this, but I know it's Louisville segment, but I gotta say it's about Kentucky.
Now we can go ahead and transition Kentucky. Talk about it, brother.
You guys are playing on borrowed time,
man.
Like you guys are really playing on borrowed time.
I'm telling y'all how I know these out of Louisville UK fans. See, I don't know how well y'all know UK fans out of Louisville. See, that's all I know. Are the UK fans out of Louisville?
Okay.
Calipari is on borrowed time. You have no idea how these fans will turn on somebody. You have never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
In your life, it's unreal the way they will go from literally kissing your feet to hating the sight of your face.
I want to say Kentucky doesn't have a go-to guy they can go to when times get tough. And it shows.
I don't think they have an identity.
They don't have an identity.
They have any idea who they are. I don't think they have any idea who's the
and now you got Tennessee balling out of control.
Their defense has gotten a little bit better.
See, and not just that.
But the problem is, though, Kentucky spends so much time trying to correct their defensive woes.
Yes.
That they give up so much in other areas. They give up so much on the offensive end because they're concentrating so much on defense.
Well, the thing is,
because beginning of the season, everybody was running past Kentucky.
Yeah, well, the thing
Transy was like
Kentucky made it a concerted effort to say, you know what, we're going to cut off the paint. And we saw it against Seton Hall where they did a much better job rallying to the ball, stopping shots at the rim. Only problem with that is they concentrate on that so much, they were leaving the Seton Hall shooters wide open.
Hey, I'm here to tell you, and the SEC is not as weak as it normally is.
No, the SEC looks good right now. Auburn looks good.
Tennessee looks great.
Absolutely.
UK is going to have a tough season, and I'm telling you, I have seen it year after year. Y'all know how that mid-season to late-season tweak that he always has to make. You don't understand that I have sat and listened to UK fans right up until this point that he makes that tweak, and they come out of that tweak playing so much better for some reason. They're calling for his job. I know people personally. Wow. Every time, every season.
I will say this.
They go through that bad stretch, he's got to go. He's got to go.
There's a lot of people that are very afraid about this Louisville game. When you look at a Louisville team that was expected to be really bad.
Really bad.
You have Coach Calipari bringing back an experienced team that people thought, that everybody was picking to be the national champion before the season started.
Everybody. It was like.
Literally every college basketball analyst picked Kentucky to win the title.
With these UK fans,
or at least Big Duke,
they're starting to see the reality of it. They see it now. Okay, we have all of these people going pro every year. We should be unbeatable, which is true. If you have the lineup The starting five that this man has every year. They have, what, 5 McDonald's All-Americans on the team? Six
right
sorry.
now. And if Ashton Hagans wouldn't have reclassified, it'd be 7. Because Hagans was good enough to be
So think about this. To do all of that and to have that type of a team, and you go to the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8, it's not acceptable to UK fans.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear so many prognosticators talking about Kentucky should win the championship, they're going to win a title, and to come out and play, I mean, literally think about this, fellas. Kentucky has yet to beat a team from any of the Power 6 conferences so far yet this year. They are 0-2. They lost to Duke. They lost to Seton Hall. Every team that they beat was from one of those smaller leagues.
No, they didn't lose to Duke.
No, but here's the thing.
They didn't lose to Duke.
Here's the thing, like, no, they didn't. They got eviscerated by Duke.
They didn't lose to Duke.
Eviscerated. But here's the thing. You barely beat SIU.
Yeah.
They
barely beat North Carolina, Greensboro.
Beat every team that they played.
You barely beat North Carolina, Greensboro. You barely beat
Transylvania was in the game with them.
I mean, it's like SIU led to except for the last 6 minutes of the game.
No, you're right.
That's a warning. I mean, if you're in Kentucky, that is a warning flag.
And I tell you what, the worst thing about it is, I think that personally, just looking at the matchup, because Louisville puts 4 shooters on the floor, this is going to be an extremely difficult cover for Kentucky in terms of defending Louisville, because they tend to leave the 3rd and 4th shooters wide open. And if you have a Ryan McMahon, or Jordan Ward,
McMahon,
or Darius Perry, wide open, you're gonna be in for a long night, and that game is in the Yum Center,
a la Luke Hancock,
and it will be Kentucky's first true road game of the season.
And it's one of my favorite U of L players of all time, Luke Hancock. And McMahon reminds me a lot of him.
I tell you what, man, I just
and it's not for the obvious reason. I said
that right now. I said it before the season after watching those teams in August that I said I thought Duke was 20 points better than Kentucky.
You were wrong.
I was wrong. They were
34 points.
I think Louisville in the Yum Center is at least a 15-point win.
At this point, yes.
I see that
at this point, because those guys on that team have not played Louisville in the Yum Center yet. First of all, they've already showed that they're not doing very well. That they don't have a lot of courage. They don't have a lot of courage under fire.
Quickly.
And what they have leading up to that Louisville game is not a good enough. It's not good enough competition to prep them.
You don't have a coach that's going to have his team playing scared for once.
Right. Oh yeah, Chris Mack, you ain't got nothing for him. Look. You ain't got no dirt on him to have him worried like, oh gosh, what should I do?
Right,
no.
I'm gonna say this for Kentucky,
no skeletons in his closet.
Right now, as it stands right now, if Kentucky's gonna have a chance against Louisville, they're gonna have to. PJ Washington is gonna have a big game.
Good call. And he's going to be matched up on Jordan Wara, so that's definitely going to be the matchup to watch right there.
Yeah, PJ is going to have a big game. You got to feed him. He's got to stay down low, post up in the block, and do work all night long. Because I don't see Quade's not going to bring it. He hasn't brought it all year.
Hey, but you know what, though? This is the one thing about Louisville, Kentucky over the years.
Somebody
always Wukash Orbzut. Or you'll have that Galena Azubuike.
Or Dawkins came off the bench with 16 points. Hawkins,
you had Hawkins.
Now, of course, fellas, we would be remiss not to give a shout out to our Lady Cards who actually took down Kentucky over the past weekend in the Yum Center.
It's like Jordan.
While we're on the topic, congratulations, ladies. Another excellent win. You all are still continuing to look good. It was close.
They let Kentucky get back in the game. They were up 18.
But hey, champions know how to close out games. That's what matters.
Are there worse officials anywhere than women's basketball officials?
Watch that.
Jasmine Jones got a technical foul for catching an alley-oop and laying it in and then yelling. Not as bad as when Kyle Keurig got the tech for dunking on the dude at Notre Dame. And he got a tech just for staring at him. Come on, man. The officials, but no. Jeff Walls is once again doing a great job. Ladies
excellent job.
Are in the top 5. I hated to see Yassine Diop go down with the injury, the transfer from Pittsburgh. But even with that injury, the ladies look like they're ready to make another run to another Final Four.
And with the rankings in the men's NCAA, will that come out tomorrow?
For the men, it came out today.
And where's Kentucky at? They are still overrated.
Kentucky dropped to number 19.
I don't think they should be in the top 25. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kentucky's now a top 25 team.
They went into the Seton Hall game number 9.
No, I'm going to say this. If you took the name off the jersey and just watch them play basketball.
No top 25.
There's no way in the world Kentucky would be top 30. Kentucky would not be a top 30
Pulling
team
up on a cheese bus
if you took the name off the jersey.
No, you're right. I mean, because, and this is the thing, people kept talking about coming into the game. Well, the one thing you know about the Cats, they're going to destroy you on the boards. I'm like,
no, they're not.
Their schedule, fellas, coming into this game, UK did not have a schedule ranked in the top 300. Kentucky had played the 320th toughest schedule coming into
and y'all heard what I said.
Into the Seton Hall game.
The competition they have leading up to this
Louisville
Louisville
game.
game.
They had played worth anything was Duke, and they lost by 34. So all those numbers really didn't mean anything. And guess what? Against Seton Hall, a very small team, they were even on the backboard.
Okay, now I want you to remind the people of the teams that they have lined up coming into the Louisville game.
They have Utah. They have North Carolina. And they
Kentucky?
Yes, Kentucky.
I thought they said Lipscomb and Stanford. Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, UK has 2 games left. They only play. They go to their weekend schedule now. They have. They had Seton Hall last Saturday.
Okay.
They have Utah this coming Saturday, and they have North Carolina the following Saturday before Louisville.
Who's not looking too well this year either.
Yeah. So I mean. That's their upcoming schedule. It doesn't get much easier for them.
It doesn't get much easier, but it also they do not have a tough game going into this Louisville game to prepare them.
North Carolina will be tough. I mean, that's North Carolina's a team in the top 15.
I mean, I'll say this: they may not be North Carolina of old,
but it's also going to be at home.
But it's talent.
Well, they've lost one at home already this year, didn't they?
They have not lost one at home. They lost to Duke. They
on
lost
the road
to Duke in a neutral site, and they lost to Seton Hall neutral site. They are currently.
They were down.
7-2.
Okay, I'm sorry. They came back and won that game.
Excuse me, 6-2.
Because I remember the narrative being talking about how many home games he had lost since he had been the head coach there.
Yeah, they came back to beat UNC Greensboro.
UNC Greensboro. They were down to lose at home.
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
They came back.
Yeah, right.
To beat UNC
only in the last 2 minutes of the game they were down. It was.
I can definitely say the consensus is right now Louisville looks to be number 1 with a bullet.
Yes.
Well,
and Louisville owes them one for that football game. Because that was a tough loss. That was a tough loss.
You know, so I think Louisville fans would take that trade off.
If you want to call that a loss,
we took it 2 years ago.
Yeah. We
took it 2 years ago over the wrist fumble, or the wrist touch, or whatever they called it with Lamar Jackson. They said he wasn't down because his. No. And then Louisville came a couple of weeks later and they won the basketball game. And I'm telling you, I know some Kentucky fans that I worked with in Frankfurt that were personally distraught because they were they didn't think Louisville had any chance of winning the basketball game that season, and Louisville actually won it. So but this year Louisville looks like they're going to win.
To me, even the Kentucky fans think that for the most part that Louisville's going to win that game.
No, it's looking that way.
Yeah, it's almost come to this point that I think Kentucky fans kind of resigned to. This is going to be a long season.
It's going to be. And here's the thing.
They're going to struggle. They're going to have about 10, 12 losses.
With the team that you have, why can't we win? That's the question they're asking.
Jordan Ward was the best player on either team. I said it.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah.
I said it. I thought that Louisville had the 2 best players. I thought that Wara and Steven Enoch were the 2 most talented players. Enoch's kind of let me down the last couple of weeks, so I need to see more from him. He won't have another serious challenge until the Kentucky game. I know people keep talking about this Lipscomb team because they did go on the road and beat number 17 TCU at TCU, and they also won a road game at SMU, which is a really good team as well out of the American. So I think that'll be a bit of a challenge, but we won't see Steven Enoch have a legit challenge until he faces off against Reed Travis, E.J. Montgomery, and those guys for UK. So we'll have to see what happens. But right now, I know that Jordan Wara is better than anybody on that Kentucky roster.
You know, else I know you guys right now better subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right.
Right now, subscribe. And, tell us what you think. Leave something in the comments below. Tell us what you think about Louisville, Kentucky, Louisville's new coach, how Kentucky's doing. Will they do well? Will they make the tournament? Will they beat anybody of note? Will they keep getting blown out by good teams? Hey, let us know. Will Steven Enoch come out of his funk? Will VJ King come out of his funk? Let us know in the comments below. Hit subscribe. Click the little bell for notifications as well. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Main Event Sports Show. I'm Have, a.k.a. the Afro Samurai, Ill Will, William Wright, BTI, and the Green-Eyed Bandit himself.
That's right, baby.
The 60-second assassin.
Hiya.
Glowworm. Rashawn Myers. Peace.
We out.